So I was just uploading and repairing one of my App Store listings for study music, where you can stream great study music. And I've come across this little section at the bottom where it asks you to upload your graphic assets. Now, when I'm looking around the app stores, this bit usually isn't actually done that well. So I thought I'd make a little video and we would go through what a high-res icon does, feature graphic, promo, TV banner, and this new Daydream 360 does, as well as just sort of gloss over the phone, tablet, Android TV, and Wear OS sections for when you want to upload screenshots. So let's get started. The high-res icon is the icon that's shown, for example, when you open up your Android phone, you open up Google Play Store, and you're scrolling through results for something you searched or one of the Play Store's categories, and it tells you, what all the results are, and the little high-res icon is shown on the left-hand side for the most part. So the little high-res icon is actually very, very important for drawing your user in, because when a user searches for, let's say, a car racing game, what are they going to see? Well, a lot of results, and to be honest, most of those people are going to judge which one they should install, which one they should play, according to the thumbnail that's there. So the thumbnail should instantly communicate what your app is all about. Now, when your user clicks your little result, it's going to go through to the actual page of the app. This is just an example of some other app. And you'll notice the little icon is also displayed there, but at the top of the app listing, or sometimes it's a bit lower than that, depending on which device we're looking at. At least I think that's the case from memory. I could be wrong. The other sort of graphical areas allow you to communicate more information. So the most important place for the high-res icon is, as I say, that initial search result. Now, the high-res icon also comes into play, like if you're looking at Google Play on a web browser like Google Chrome, like this is, it's right there shown when you click, for example, this app for free flight simulator. So if I just go to the apps section, this is where we see the high-res icon. Right? So notice the differences between lots of these things. So we've got Reckless Racing, which is a tire. We've got some war game. We've got flight simulator. With other things that aren't games, we have this high-res icon that's really clear, and this crosses over into the region of branding. So Google have their Google colors, Facebook Messenger we recognize, PlayStation, I think the whole world population recognizes the PlayStation icon. So that's just a short summary of where the high-res icon is shown. So just to summarize, this is what you need to focus on, drawing your user in when they click the result. Very rarely, and this is just from personal experience because I don't know how everyone reacts to their app store, when I search for something, I tend to look at the first result, but I don't install it, and I'll scroll until something catches my eye. Generally, words don't catch eyes, pictures do. So that is what you need to think about when you're designing that high-res icon. Now, the next one we're going to look at is this feature graphic, the 1024 by 500 height. Now, where does this show? Well, this doesn't show on the results page. This actually shows inside the app page itself. And generally speaking, it's this big picture at the top of the screen where my mouse is hovering over. The idea of a feature graphic, in my opinion, is to show the user a little bit more information about the game that they've clicked on. They've become curious from your icon, your high-res icon, so they've clicked on the game, and now they're looking for more information. Now, if you look at the lower part of this screen, what information is there? Well, you've got a rating. That does play quite a large part, but I think, in my opinion, I'm a visual person, so it could be different for others, but most people are actually visually drawn because it's how we evolved as a species. everyone's looking at that picture at the top and they're thinking, does that actually draw me in? Is it something I would like to participate in? Now, this PlayerUnknown Battleground is quite a famous game, so perhaps that might draw you in if you already knew about it. But to be honest, I'm not that drawn in with that image. I think they could actually do better, perhaps with something more actiony. I find it's good if you place your user into that background somehow. So you draw their personality in, and in order to do that, you need to know what kind of users you're attracting, and you place them into that image. And when you do that, you know, a click on install is virtually guaranteed, but it's very, very tricky to do. So it's something worth spending some time thinking about. Okay, so that is where the feature graphic goes. Then we have the promo graphic. And this is something we can kind of ignore. And you know that, firstly, because, well, there's no asterisk, so it's not required. And look at the resolution. It's 180 by 120. So the promo graphic is a leftover from Android 4 and lower days. And considering we're on Android 8 right now with 9 in development, or whatever they're going to call the next one, this just isn't necessary unless you're going to support much older devices, which you don't need to do, because if you look at the breakdown of what Android runs on, anything below 4 is a tiny, tiny percentage. Generally, promo graphics were what Android used when they wanted to run a promotion around the App Store and there was an image they could show to the user. So we can forget about that. The TV banner is pretty much the same idea as the feature graphic when it comes to the app. Now, if I'm wrong, then you can correct me, but I believe that the feature graphic is actually used in Android TV, so you don't necessarily need the TV banner. And you know that because there's no asterisk. Then we come to the Daydream 360-degree stereoscopic image. So what's this all about? Well, I'm sure you've heard of virtual reality, and Daydream is basically virtual reality, just with a different name. So Google have come up with this little headset, a nice comfortable headset, and you can drop any of these phones into it, and then you have Daydream in quotes, and it provides a handy little controller for you to daydream with, whatever that controller is doing. Now, in reality, the number of people exploring the App Store in Daydream mode or VR mode, in my opinion, is absolutely tiny. But you may want to verify that, see how many people are running these particular devices for the kind of app that you're making. Now, obviously, if you are making a VR app, then this is something you probably need to do. Drop in your Daydream 360 stereoscopic image. But if you're not making a VR app, then I would say this is almost pointless unless you're competing against some already established app brands and you just want to add that extra bit of spice because you know it will attract users over and above the users for the other apps. So again, we can kind of ignore this, and we know that because there's no asterisk next to it. Now, I've said ignore on a lot of images here, and the whole reason I've said that is because the idea of being a developer is you get a lot of stuff out there, in my opinion, you see what sticks. So it's that old adage, isn't it? You throw SH1T at the wall, see what sticks, and that's what you roll with. Then you can start improving your apps, taking them up to scale and giving people what they want, or perhaps what they don't want, but they actually need. So before you put loads of effort into these other images and your stereoscopic images, just concentrate 100% on this high-res icon. That is the key to everything. Feature graphic is a second. It's not that close. It just needs to communicate what your icon is implying. And then the rest we can ignore for now until you get much more advanced in your app and you know that people actually download and use it. Right, so the final thing we're going to look at is your promo video. And this comes from a YouTube video, so you'll upload it to YouTube. Now, I advise you to actually keep this fairly short and use it to whet your user's appetite but don't give everything away. You know, that's how you draw people in. You don't say, here's everything in the game. Here's the beginning, the middle, the end. Here's the end result of the game you're about to download. Instead, you ask open-ended questions. You say, how will you fare in the world's hardest game? Or, you think this game is easy? Just wait. And then you show a couple of action scenes. And then this is the important bit. At the end of the video, put a call to action. Get them to download the application. If you don't have a call to action, then they might go back and see what other apps there are, because the video has told them some information and they want to browse the other bits of information. So always put a call to action at the end of your promo video. Right, so those are all the basic assets that we've covered in the App Store listing. Obviously, it's just a seemingly small part. I mean, look at this. It's just this little section, and that's it. Oh, I forgot to cover, almost, the phone, tablet, Android TV, and Wear OS. Now, these are obviously the screenshots from your app. And you could have a simple, let's say, screenshot. Let's just look up images here of your particular app. So I suppose this might be a fairly good example. You just zoom in on the actual phone itself and you put your app in there. That doesn't tell people anything. What you have to do is something like this. Tell the people what that screen is doing and why it's good for the person looking at it. What are the benefits for the user that is considering downloading your app? So it's nothing more than marketing, isn't it? Tell your user the benefits, not the features. That's a very common mistake on the App Store. People say, download free tracks, whatever it is. You know, that's the app I'm making. Download free tracks. Well, it's nice, but it's not a benefit, right? So if we were going to turn that around from download free tracks into the benefit for the user, you'd put something like free tracks make study time better times 1000% or something, right? So now the user, it's personalized. Say if I get these free tracks that they're offering from this feature, then my study time is going to improve. And just so you know, that is the app I'm making, Study Music. It's sort of instrumental music because I hate listening to vocal music when I'm studying or indeed coding. I don't study that much anymore, I just code. It's kind of the same thing. Anyway, remember, communicate the benefits of the screenshot to your user. So after your user has gone through your app, and this is the order, they'll look at the icon, they'll look at the title and the subtitle maybe, they'll select your app, then they'll see the feature graphic, and that will tell them a bit more information. Then they get to browse through phone screenshots, tablet screenshots, etc. These should be pretty obvious as to what they are. You know, they're screenshots if the Play Store listing is shown on that platform. They'll browse through these, and from there they'll make a decision as to whether or not they're going to download the app. Now it's up to you. In these screenshots, you can actually put, let's say, 2 or 3. Don't put loads, because you'll annoy people and they won't get to the end. I wish there were some analytics for that, but you know, I don't think they would scroll through 10 screenshots. 3's enough. On the third one, call to action, just like the promo video. Call to action, download now, or try this now. You could even say bonus free track in my app's example, if you download now. You know, it's kind of a BS offer because there's always a free track, but things like that spur people to actually download your apps. Right, so we've covered everything. We've covered what these graphics are, the screenshots, and the promo video, and you now know how important they are, because people look at stuff and they decide based on what they see. Okay, that's very, very important to know.